helping you get the most from your money at home and abroad.
I'm joined by travel journalist Sarah Tucker for the Share Radio Travel Guide. Now we're going to start by talking about the Royal Geographical Society. They are hosting its 13th annual Travel Photographer of the Year exhibition this week in Kensington. The photographs document the magnificence, the beauty, the poignancy of the planet and its inhabitants. And to find out more about the people who take these photographs, we're now joined in the studio by Jeremy Hoare, award-winning travel photographer and cameraman. Welcome, Sarah. Over to you.
Hello, Simon. Hello, Jeremy.
Hello, Sarah. Hello, Simon.
How did you get first involved in photography, and especially travel photography?
Well, my father got me interested in photography when I was a kid, and I also collected stamps as a kid. And stamps led me to look at the world, because I thought, where is Tonga? I didn't know where it was, so I went to a map and I found it. And that led to an interest in travel. And as soon as I started travelling after my first trip abroad, which was with the school, and it was also the first flight I ever took, I thought, this is great. So I wanted to be a travel photographer at some point in my life. But I went into television because my father had been a theatre manager. He was manager of Theatre Royal Drury Lane for 25 years. And I decided that being in theatre was not my game. Television production was, so I became a cameraman and then a lighting director. And then television sort of died for me in the early 90s. It became a totally different animal, and I thought, I don't want to be in this business anymore. I've had the best days. So overnight I became a travel photographer.
What makes a good photographer great, or a good photograph great?
It's really telling a story. I think it's journalism in another way, but with images. I think telling a story, and also a good photograph has got great composition, great lighting. The characters stand out if there are people in it. It works. It just tells that story. You don't need a description, really.
I've worked for National Geographic and National Geographic Traveller, but getting photographs in there is an art. How do you get photographs into National Geographic? Something like that. It must be sort of like the creme de la creme. How do you get into it?
By being a good photographer for a start, and always delivering what you've been set out to do. The mark between an amateur and a professional is an amateur. It doesn't matter if they come back with nothing. A professional, it does, because otherwise you won't get another job. But to get into something like any publication or Nat Geo, you need to be very good, and you need to know the right people, and above all, you need to be persistent.
If you're listening, and you're in front of a terminal, Jeremy's got his own website, so you can look at Jeremy Hoare, that's HOARE.com, and you can see some of the photographs, which are well worth doing while we're having a chat. Sorry to interrupt you, Sarah.
No. I wanted to know, for the geeks listening, what, in your opinion, is the best camera?
That's the one that's going to be produced tomorrow. Cameras come out every week. It's very difficult to pinpoint a camera. I was thinking about this, actually, because I guess this will be one of the questions. There is a huge move away from digital DSLRs now. They're bulky, they're heavy, and they're yesterday's camera, really. I would look at anything that's mirrorless. And I don't have any connection with Fuji. I haven't even got a Fuji camera. But their range is very highly regarded by professionals.
What does mirrorless mean?
It means, well, it hasn't got a prism. It sees through an electronic viewfinder.
Okay.
So you put the camera to your eye. And one other thing I would say about any camera that any intending photographer really wants to buy for travel, have one with a viewfinder, not just a screen on the back. Because in sunshine, you really can't see a thing. And you've got much more positive action with a viewfinder. But the mirrorless cameras have got an electronic viewfinder, rather like a television camera.
Can you earn anything as a travel photographer? That's a cutting to the chase. But can you?
Right, okay.
Because everyone, my son regularly tells me now, everyone is a travel writer, everyone is a travel journalist, because they all have their own blogs and they talk about their holidays. But everyone also puts all their photographs online.
They do indeed, and everyone is a travel photographer. Everyone's got a phone. Now, for a lot of, if you're out in sunshine, in nice circumstance, it's good light, a phone is probably okay to start with. Although if you're serious about being a real travel photographer, I would move on to a real camera quite soon. But as soon as it comes to night time and things like that, you need some control. And you don't have it with the phone. Well, you do. It's getting more and more controlled, except it's the wrong animal. It's, it takes pictures. Yes, it takes good pictures, but a camera is so much easier to use.
What's the good, the bad, and the ugly of being a travel photographer? Because it sounds wonderful. It sounds wonderful.
Well, everybody tells me it's the dream job that they'd love to do, and I keep saying to people, "Well, live your dream then," which a lot of people cannot. I have tried to do so. The good. Some days are just great. You have a fun time, and you don't really know that the whole day has gone past, and it's suddenly evening, and you want a meal. They're the great days. You've had good light, cooperative people, landscapes have been great, scenery's been fantastic, everything's worked. The bad days is when you hang around waiting for the light to change because you really want a sunny day, and it's pouring with rain. I went to Tonga. This is an anecdote, very short one. I went to Tonga to try and get involved there. And I was there for 4 weeks, and the first 3 weeks it rained. And I was trying to take pictures of Tonga as a nice South Pacific island in sunshine. So in the last few days, I ran around like a lunatic.
And the ugly?
The ugly? Well, dealing with Jobsworths. They're everywhere. Security guards who don't have a clue about the law. You can take pictures from public property. Nobody can really stop you to do that. They can ask you not to do it, but they can't legally stop you. But I would think 99% of Jobsworth security guards don't know that. And you constantly have to tell them.
So where can people see your work? Because you're on all over the place at the moment, aren't you?
At the moment, yes. I've never had a moment like this, actually. I have an exhibition which ends at Calumet, which is a main photography dealer in London, in Euston, which ends tomorrow. I also have an exhibition in Brick Lane, in the Brick Lane Gallery, which ends on Sunday, which is... They're all Kyoto pictures. And only yesterday I put some pictures up at 90 Piccadilly with a fashion designer from Japan, from Tokyo, who has a shop in Ginza, which is like the Bond Street of Tokyo. So there's some pictures there as well.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much, Jeremy. And if you want to find out more about your photos, the website is?
jeremyhora.com.
Lovely. Thank you.
Splendid. Thank you very much indeed, Jeremy. Absolutely fascinating. Wish we'd had longer.
Helping you get the most from your money at home and abroad.